And joining me on set, my friend and colleague, NBC News senior legal correspondent, my Saturday Today co-anchor, Laura Jarrett, also with us. Out of Alabama, former U.S. attorney, the professor at the University of Alabama School of Law, Joyce Vance. Joyce, we're going to get to you in a second. Laura, let me ask you about this. I've been with you. You've been talking to a lot of these families.
You've seen me working the phones.
Who are in these moments, right? And a lot of families, I'm sure many people watching have families, if they didn't themselves go through IVF. This is real and it's personal. And for these families, they have no idea what happens now.
They're sort of in this legal purgatory, as I've been saying, a no man's land. I've been following two patients in particular all week who, when this decision first came down, their clinic said, we're going to take it day by day, see how it goes. The next thing you know, one had a transfer scheduled for today that was canceled. The other had to hop on a plane. Let's hear from them themselves.
We found a clinic that will take us in Texas.
After 3 miscarriages, Gabby Goidel says her doctors recommended she have her embryos genetically tested to boost her chances of a healthy pregnancy.
I'm not stopping this cycle. I've already been through too many shots, already invested too much time and energy.
After spending nearly $250,000 on fertility treatments and a surrogate, Megan and Walker Cole were devastated to learn their fertility clinic not only canceled their embryo implantation this week, but say their clinic would not give them their frozen embryos to use outside the state.
So even though these are apparently my children, I don't have access to them.
So you might wonder, well, why can't she get her own embryos? And basically the response from the clinics is we're going to shut down everything because, again, they're worried about what happens if one gets accidentally dropped. What if one accidentally thaws and then is destroyed? That's what could put them on the hook legally, since the court is saying any destruction is a destruction of life.
It's powerful, the language that young woman uses, right? She said, so these are supposed to be my children, but I have no access to them right now. Joyce, I want to get to you on this right now about, I guess, how this resolves itself, if it does. I mean, this is the state Supreme Court. This isn't federal statute or anything. It doesn't go to the U.S. Supreme Court. What happens to those in other states outside Alabama as well? How likely is this to touch them as well?
Right. So this creates a lot of uncertainty in an environment where there's already so much uncertainty surrounding what sorts of medical care you can still get after the Dobbs decision. There's really a chill on what women can access. Here's what happened, though, Peter. In Dobbs, the Supreme Court said it's up to every state to decide what its rules around abortion are. Alabama is one of the states that adopted a rule that says that life begins at conception. So in addition to making all abortion illegal, it was only a matter of time until something like this happened, an attack on IVF, although this one came in an unusual context involving parents suing for negligence involved in the handling of these embryos. But that ruling means that it's possible that mishandling or abuse of embryos could lead to criminal charges, including murder. So now we have this unusual environment. Will it spread to other states? I think it's very likely that it will. There's already been a conversation in Florida about using this ruling to attack IVF. Possibly some states will actually create IVF as an exception to their fetal personhood laws. That's already underway in the Alabama legislature this morning.
We've talked about patients, to talk about providers as well. Laura, legally, they have some real concerns right now.
They're saying basically they're in a bind, that they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. And that's why they press pause. They're not saying that they're not eventually going to start up IVF again, but they're saying they need to press pause.
But pause is tough if you're 5 out of 6 shots into it.
Exactly. And that's why the patients have essentially decided they need to move forward. But one thing that we should make extra clear, as of right now, what we're all talking about is a civil law. And that civil law is for wrongful death. The only person who has standing to sue is the parents. And so that's why the patients are telling me, I just want my embryos back. I'm not going to sue the clinic. I just want my embryos back. Now, as Joyce pointed out, doesn't mean that this might get extended in some way later on down the line to a criminal realm. But as of right now, they're just civil lawsuits. And since it's happened to just like a very narrow set of people, it's sort of incredible that this has spun out to affect so many people.
And Joyce, in a lot of ways, this is a political nightmare. I'm the guy in this group who covers politics for a living, right? But this is a political nightmare for Republicans. A lot of Republicans publicly right now are trying to distance themselves or saying, well, we didn't mean for it to go to this place, but it does have the potential for real impact. The Biden White House is trying to enforce that message right now. As you noted, and on my last question to you, this all stems from that Dobbs decision. In effect, this is an extension of the decision that was made by the Supreme Court, thanks in large part to those 3 justices who were appointed by the former president, Donald Trump.
Absolutely, that's the case. And we're seeing the political fallout in Alabama, where state legislators were quick to rush back to the floor with legislation. There are bills in both the House and the Senate in Alabama that would say whatever else we've said in our laws and the rules that we've adopted, we didn't mean to say that embryos were children and IVF can move forward. You know, that's a little bit of a inconsistency, I think, is maybe the nicest word for it, but it does open the door to when else can you have exceptions to these fetal personhood rules? Would this perhaps apply to ectopic pregnancy? Would it apply to cases of rape and incest in states that have very difficult rules that don't permit abortion even there? And the political problems that this exposes Republicans to are nothing compared to the uncertainty that it exposes American women who are just trying to get medical care to.
Yeah, that's a really important point.